Hello, my friend. In this season of life, have you ever stood in front of the mirror, slipped into what you thought was a lovely outfit, and then asked yourself, why do I look shorter, whiter, or heavier than I feel? If so, you're not alone. Many women over 50 share that same frustration, feeling that certain clothes work against them instead of bringing out their best. But here's the truth. Elegance has nothing to do with age and everything to do with awareness. Today, I'll walk you through 5 common styling mistakes that can quietly make you appear shorter or less refined, and more importantly, how to fix them so you feel taller, lighter, and more graceful. And stay with me, because mistake 3 is the one that always surprises the women I work with most. It's such a simple shift, yet it transforms how your entire silhouette comes together. If you find inspiration in style advice created especially for women in this stage of life, I'd love for you to join me at Chic over 50. Together, we'll explore how confidence and elegance can grow stronger with every year. Now, let's step right into the first mistake, because once you see it, you'll never look at your favorite dresses the same way again. Mistake 1, the dress outfits. Have you ever slipped into a beautiful black dress and felt certain it would make you look taller and slimmer, only to glance in the mirror and realize something feels off? A dress, no matter how perfectly cut, is like a timeless piece of music. If one note is out of tune, a belt that cuts too harshly across the waist, or a handbag that overwhelms your frame, the entire harmony is lost. One of the most common styling mistakes I see among women like us is pairing a dark, elegant dress with a sharply contrasting belt. The idea is usually to define the waist, but what often happens is the opposite. Instead of creating shape, the belt draws a hard line right through the body. That single stripe interrupts the vertical flow, widens the midsection, and makes the figure look shorter. Another misstep is reaching for an oversized bag. I know, larger bags feel practical, but when a handbag nearly hits the knee, it pulls the eye downward and adds unnecessary weight to the bottom half of the outfit. The result? A silhouette that looks grounded, heavy, and far from graceful. Shoes can also work against us. A pair in a color that contrasts too strongly with our skin-white sandals with a black dress, or dark chunky heels with light legs, has the power to cut the line of the leg. Instead of elongating, it shortens. Now, here's where the magic happens. When I work with women in this season of life, the transformation is often breathtakingly simple. A belt in the same tone as the dress smooths the line of the body. A refined, smaller handbag instantly lifts the look and puts the balance back where it belongs, closer to the face and upper body. And nude-toned or caramel shoes that blend softly with the skin allow the legs to appear uninterrupted, giving the illusion of height without a single inch of added heel. I'll never forget one client, let's call her Susan, a vibrant 58-year-old. She walked in, convinced her black dress made her short and square. All we did was swap her oversized tote for a medium raffia bag, traded her high-contrast belt for a tonal one, and slipped her feet into warm, neutral slides. She stepped in front of the mirror, gasped, and said, I feel like I grew 2 inches right before my eyes. Think about your own favorite dresses for a moment. Could a small shift, changing a bag, softening the color of a shoe, blending the waistline, unlock a new elegance you didn't realize was possible? When the details start to flow in harmony, your reflection feels lighter, more balanced, more confident. And once you experience that shift, you'll start noticing how other outfits can carry the same kind of silent power. Mistake 2, light dress with heavy accessories. Have you ever slipped on a white or pastel dress, expecting to feel fresh and graceful, only to be surprised that the mirror told a different story? The dress itself may be beautiful, but when the accessories are too heavy, the whole look changes. Think of a light dress as a clean sheet of paper. If you sketch with bold, heavy strokes, the softness disappears. In the same way, a bright dress paired with a large black tote, chunky sandals, or oversized sunglasses creates a baby doll effect, an outfit that feels weighed down, making the body appear smaller and less refined. Here's the good news. You don't need to avoid darker accessories altogether. It's not about removing contrast, it's about using it wisely. Instead of a large black bag, try a medium-sized raffia piece with slim dark accents. Swap heavy shoes for strappy sandals or light slides that echo the trim of the bag. And instead of oversized frames that cover your face, choose smaller glasses that highlight your eyes rather than overwhelm them. These subtle choices still bring in the sophistication of dark details, but without stealing the lightness of the dress. I often remind women like us that elegance is less about what we wear and more about how each element works together. One of my clients, a lively woman in her late 50s, once told me she loved her ivory dress but always felt childish in it. She usually paired it with thick shoes and a huge tote. When we replaced those with finer, balanced pieces, her entire reflection changed. She looked taller, her features brighter, and her outfit finally matched the woman she felt inside, confident, refined, and radiant. So here's something to consider the next time you wear a light dress. Where do your accessories lead the eye? Do they guide attention upward toward your face and smile? Or do they pull everything downward, dimming the elegance you hoped for? Balance is the key. When darker accents are delicate and intentional, they frame your natural beauty instead of hiding it. They bring depth without distraction. Once you see the shift, you begin to understand that style is not just about the dress, it's about harmony. And harmony, when mastered, changes everything. And speaking of harmony, there's another subtle mistake that many women make. It's not about the color of accessories, but about how clothing cuts the body itself, shaping proportions in ways we often overlook. Mistake 3. Ignoring your natural proportions. Have you ever looked in the mirror and felt that something about your outfit looked off, but you couldn't quite explain why? Often, it's not the colors or the patterns, it's the proportions. Our bodies, just like a painting, are defined by balance. When the lines are placed in harmony, the result feels natural and beautiful. But when the body is divided in half, the eye sees imbalance, and the elegance we hope for quietly disappears. One of the most common mistakes I see among women in this season of life is allowing clothes to cut the body right at the halfway point. A long, untucked top over mid-rise pants, for example, can visually shorten the legs. The body suddenly looks wider, the frame heavier, and the flow of the silhouette is lost. The key is to think in thirds, not halves. Fashion follows the same principle as art and architecture. The rule of thirds. If the upper body takes up 1/3 and the lower body 2/3, the eye reads a longer, more graceful line. And the opposite can also be true. 2/3 on top and 1/3 on the bottom can create balance. Depending on your frame, what matters is that the body isn't split evenly down the middle. There are many simple ways to create this effect. Tucking a blouse into high-waisted pants immediately raises the waistline and extends the legs. Cropped sweaters or jackets paired with skirts help the body look taller and lighter. Even choosing where a belt sits higher on the waist instead of low on the hips can completely change the impression. When I was studying design, one of my professors told me, "Fashion is architecture for the body." I carry that phrase with me to this day. Just like buildings rely on structure and proportion, so do our outfits. You can have the most beautiful fabrics, the most flattering colors, but if the proportions are off, the elegance is lost. On the other hand, when proportions are right, even the simplest clothing looks refined. Think of how many times you've tried on an outfit and thought, "Why do I look shorter than I feel?" The answer is often not the garment itself, but where it begins and ends. Does your jacket stop at the widest part of your hips, or just above where your legs look longest? Does your skirt cut right at mid-calf, or does it fall at the slimmest part of your leg? These small shifts matter more than most women realize. I've worked with women who were amazed when they saw the difference. One woman in her early 60s told me, "I thought I needed new clothes, but all I really needed was to tuck in my blouse." Suddenly her legs looked longer, her posture straighter, and her confidence soared. So, here's a question worth asking yourself. Are your outfits helping your body follow the graceful rhythm of 1/3 and 2/3? Or are they unintentionally cutting you in half? When we learn to see proportion as part of our style vocabulary, we stop fighting with our clothes and start letting them work for us. The harmony feels natural, effortless, and deeply elegant. And once you begin to notice this principle, you'll also start to recognize how certain casual pieces like shorts can either enhance or completely break that balance, depending on how they're chosen and styled. Mistake 4: shorts outfits done wrong. Have you ever pulled on a pair of shorts in the summer, only to feel that they somehow made your legs look shorter instead of longer? Shorts are beloved by so many women like us, comfortable, easy, and perfect for warm weather. Yet, the way they're styled can completely change how tall and confident we appear. One of the biggest culprits is length. A Bermuda short that stops right at the knee may seem safe, but visually it's like putting a period in the middle of a sentence. The eye stops right at the joint, cutting the leg in half, and the result feels heavy rather than graceful. Add to that a chunky sandal with thick straps or a large tote bag hanging low by the hip, and suddenly the entire look drags downward. Instead of feeling fresh, the outfit feels weighed down. But here's the wonderful part. Small adjustments make an enormous difference. Choosing shorts that end just above the knee, or even a few inches shorter, helps elongate the line of the leg. If you're not comfortable with shorter cuts, a pair of tailored cropped trousers at 7/8 length works beautifully. They show the ankle, which is one of the most flattering points on the body, while still giving coverage. Shoes are another detail that can transform the look. Thick soles or ankle straps can break the vertical line of the leg. Delicate sandals or slides, especially in neutral tones, blend seamlessly and keep the eye moving upward. As for bags, scale matters. A smaller or medium-sized style placed higher on the body creates a sense of lift, drawing attention toward the face rather than dragging the gaze to the floor. I once worked with a woman in her mid-50s who told me she hated wearing shorts because they made her feel stumpy. We switched her Bermudas for a pair cut just 2 inches shorter, paired them with slim, strappy sandals, and gave her a smaller bag with a shoulder strap. She looked in the mirror, laughed, and said, "I can't believe that tiny change just gave me back my legs." So let me ask you, when you choose your summer shorts, do they highlight your legs in the best way possible, or do they unintentionally cut them in half? Sometimes it's not about abandoning shorts altogether, but about letting them work in your favor. Once you see how these subtle tweaks reshape the silhouette, you realize that elegance isn't about age, but about awareness. And this same principle, knowing where a line begins and where it ends, applies just as strongly to skirts, which can either flatter beautifully or undo your efforts in an instant if the length isn't chosen with care. Mistake 5: skirts at the wrong length. Have you ever fallen in love with a skirt, only to discover that once you put it on, it made your legs look shorter or heavier than they really are? The truth is, not every skirt length is created equal. A skirt that ends at just the wrong spot can undo the elegance of the entire outfit. Think of a midi skirt that stops at the widest part of the calf. Instead of elongating, it creates a sharp break across the leg, like drawing a line through a graceful shape and suddenly cutting it short. Even women with naturally long, lean legs can look stunted if the hemline lands at that awkward point. It's not the skirt itself that fails us, but the way its length interacts with the body's natural lines. So, where should a skirt end to flatter instead of flatten? For minis, just above the knee works beautifully. It highlights a narrow point of the leg, bringing freshness without feeling too youthful or forced. For midis, the key is to choose lengths that end where the calf narrows slightly below the knee or at the slimmest part of the leg. And for maxis, the most elegant option is when the hem falls just above the ankle. This allows the fabric to flow while still showing a glimpse of skin at one of the most delicate points of the body. I often hear women in this season of life tell me, "I avoid maxi skirts because they bury me." Yet, when they try one that falls at the ankle and pair it with slim, strappy sandals, they're amazed at how much taller and lighter they appear. It's not unusual for them to say, "I feel like I grew 2 inches." It's a perfect example of how proportion and placement matter more than the garment itself. The same principle applies with patterns and fabrics. A bold print on a skirt that ends at the wrong point can feel overwhelming, while a smaller, more delicate pattern that finishes at a flattering length can look effortlessly refined. Even the way a skirt moves matters. An asymmetric hemline, for example, often creates a vertical flow that elongates the silhouette. So next time you shop for or style a skirt, pause and notice, where does the hemline land on your leg? Does it stop at a point that narrows and lengthens? Or does it cut across the widest part, creating a line that shortens? Elegance, after all, is not about following rules blindly. It's about understanding how small choices an inch higher, an inch lower can completely transform the way we look and feel. And when the hemline is right, your skirt doesn't just dress you, it frames you. It tells the world that you are tall, graceful, and confident no matter your actual height. So there you have it. 5 styling mistakes that quietly work against you, and 5 simple ways to correct them. As you've seen, it's not about spending a fortune or chasing trends. It's about proportion, balance, and those small details that create harmony. When your clothes highlight your shape instead of fighting it, you instantly look taller, lighter, and more confident. Take a moment this week to open your closet and ask yourself, are my outfits lifting me up or pulling me down? Sometimes The difference between feeling stuck and feeling elegant is just one thoughtful adjustment. I'd love to hear from you out of these 5 mistakes. Which one do you find yourself making most often? Share your thoughts in the comments. Your experiences might inspire another woman who's watching. And if this video gave you even one idea you're excited to try, I invite you to subscribe to Chic Over 50. Together, we're building a community where style doesn't fade. With age, it evolves, grows, and becomes even more powerful. Remember, elegance isn't about perfection. It's about choosing clothes that let your natural beauty shine. You deserve to feel radiant every single day.